Great Debaters Contest is powered by Blaze, by Safaricom, the Youth Network.
Welcome to the hottest region this season. This is Mombasa region, and I am your host, Austin Nyambok. We're hitting it from Mama Ngina Girls High School, and this is going to be the greatest. Because one thing you must understand is these kids are actually debating in one of the hottest temperatures they'll actually experience in season 7.
Our government should negotiate with terrorists. We are opposing that.
You're opposing that motion.
Yeah.
Do you feel confident about the side you've chosen?
They should actually prepare.
They should actually prepare.
Yeah, really prepare.
Coming to you from the city in the sun, Mombasa, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Coast edition of the Great Debaters Contest. I am Mariam Bishar.
And I am Austin Nyambok. With a motion that embodies the spirit of open for debate, governments should negotiate with terrorists. Alidina Visram versus our hosts, Mama Ngina Girls High School. Mariam, too open for your thoughts?
I think it's a tough one, and I'm waiting to see how these debaters handle it. Proposal number 1, you have the floor. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Halima Ismail from Mama Ngina Girls. Now, everyone thinks differently on a freedom fighter and a terrorist. This is what I came for. A government is a body or a group of people that are mandated with the authority to control all state affairs that affect a country or a nation. A terrorist is a person who uses violence or threatens to use violence with the main aim of hammering the fact home that his or her circumstance won't change unless drastic methods are used. Negotiating is having a formal discussion on matters affecting both parties with an aim of having an agreement at the end of it. Now comes the question, why should we negotiate? Pepe Minamba once said, if someone asks you why do you do this, then answer them with why not? Why not negotiate when this is the most non-violent form of combating terrorism? Everyone worries on how should we stop terrorism. Well, I have an answer. Stop participating in terrorism. Well, people like saying there is a war on terrorism. How can you have a war on terrorism when the war itself is terrorist? If we destroy human rights and the rule of law in response to terrorism, then they have won. The terrorists have won because you're combating violence with violence. This is wrong. Who are these terrorists? We have Al-Qaeda, we have ISIS and the likes. Tomorrow, we will have other groups. Today we have these ones. Before we had terrorist groups. So let us not fix our minds on what we have now, on what we'll have in the future. A government is mandated or obligated to keep its citizens' interest at heart. According to our Kenyan Constitution, Chapter 4, the Bill of Rights, it states that every single citizen of our country is entitled to a right of life, and the government subjects to this constitution. The government submits to this constitution. What is it doing about it? Another article in the Constitution states that every single person has a right to fair trial before being deemed guilty. What is the government doing about this? Because you're supposed to subject to the Constitution. We are sending our soldiers to Somalia. We are putting their lives at risk. Our families, the families of Kenya are losing their people. We're losing our blood. What do these terrorists want? Not all of them have the same one. We have the FARCO, Afomidales Revolucionaries de Colombia, which was formed in 22nd June 2012. This terrorist group fights for the rights of the people. It fights for the poor people by staging attacks on the rich people to convey a message to the government. So I call on to you to look at what the terrorists want before actually convicting them. Maybe they're fighting for our rights.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes for your opening statement.
A very good question has been asked. What do these terrorists want? How sure are we that they want to help us? Look at what they did in Peketoni. They killed people aimlessly. What do they want? If not to destroy us, if not to destroy civilization. My name is Kasim Mohammed from Alidina Visram High School, opposing the motion. They have the right to a fair trial. Yes, they do, because they are our fellow human beings. I just have one problem. We all have the same problem. If they keep on attacking us, what are they communicating? They should at least speak to us first. Let them find ways which they can communicate to us in a much better manner rather than killing our loved ones. That's totally unfair. And if they want it that way, that's how they are going to get it. My first point is, these people are inhuman, totally inhuman. They kill aimlessly. How sure are we that during negotiations, they are going to put forth human goals? They are going to tell us something human enough which is really going to change this world. We cannot trust them, which leads me to my next point. We are not sure if we are going to get positive results. These people want nothing which is going to help anyone. They just want to benefit themselves. And the more we give in to their demands, the more they'll need more. They are just like habitual drunks. Every time they just come for more. They just come for more. They are never tired. They never will be tired. That I promise. Let us look at our lives first. Let us put our lives first. Let us put the lives of those citizens out there first. We must protect them, either peacefully or forcefully. And if force is what must be used, then it will. We are not going to negotiate. Thank you.
Cross-examinations now. Mama Ngina, you have 3 minutes.
Well. You're saying that the terrorists are using the most drastic way to communicate what they want to say. That is true. That's exactly why we want to negotiate with them. That is why we want to put them down to a table, tell them, hey, you know what? This method is not the best way to communicate your message. You know what? Give us this, we'll give you that. That is why we are negotiating. Now, dated from history, from the time Stacey Aim, from Mama Ngina Girls was born, many methods, 1,001 methods, were used to try combating terrorism. But tell me, which have succeeded? The University of Kent, the Kent University just realized that 43% of all the terrorism activities are usually solved through politics. That is, through negotiation. Why not try it? Only 7% of force, as they say it, has been succeeded. Why just think beyond your nose. You need to think beyond your nose. You're saying we need to save lives. That's exactly what we're doing. We want to save those lives. That is why we want to sit with them, tell them, hey, please stop this. Hey, don't do that. Hey, do this. The many methods that have been used by the countries we have include the military force. Kenya, for instance, uses the KDF day in, day out, decade in, decade out. What happens? We send our KDF, go to Somalia. Yes, I love my country. I'll go fight for my country. But what happens? They come back dead. Just recently, what's this place called again? I've forgotten. But just in a place near our country, 70 of our military men were killed because of going to fight through with the terrorists. Now, why don't you just come down, talk to them, listen to them? They are people, they are terrorists, we agree, but they have aims, they have motives. That is what we want to know. Now, in 2012, 2nd October, do you know what happened? The anti-terror legislation was passed. That's a new act. They said, okay, since we don't want to go fight them, let's use another method. Since we don't want to go negotiate with them, let's use another method. Then they put that. But do you know what happened? 1 year, just 1 year after that, our own country, my country, your country, his country, our country was attacked by the Al-Shabaab. Over 60 lives were lost. Over 100 people were injured. We've tried everything, but nothing is succeeding. Why not go talk to these people? Many lives are being lost. And that is why I say that the government should negotiate with the terrorists.
Alidina Visram, let's hear your cross-examination. You have 3 minutes.
My dear friends, my opponent seems to be talking about an idea, but that on the surface would seem logical, but then in depth is just utterly absurd. She talked about sitting with them down and talking to them. What do you think these terrorists want? What do you want them to give us? And what do you think they have against us? Another thing is that you said, since your history is very good, you talked about 77% use of force succeeded, right? Why isn't force the solution then? You talked about the KDF expedition, the one that 70 military men were killed. But then in the end, we sacrificed 70 to save a whole nation. Think about this. Isn't this logic? Now to my first point. Why a government should negotiate with terrorists? Should not negotiate with terrorists. One, why should I take the risk as a government? Why should I take the risk to sit down and negotiate with somebody who's holding a gun to my head? Somebody whose mindset is not normal. I cannot talk with somebody who we don't have a common basis ground of interest. It is an absurd decision since it makes them to be recognized as a force in the society and motivates them to keep on attacking. If they sit down and they talk, we talk with them, and they'll realize if they say something, we'll just sit down and then we'll just go back down. And this will make them have an impact on the society. This will make me lose my power as the government. Another point that we will be just advertising for them. Listen, the most lethal weapon the terrorists have is the ability to recruit personnel. How are they doing this? Let's say, for example, the Al-Shabaab leader meets with Uhuru. It is aired on TV. It is aired on the radios. Every Kenyan will listen to this. Every Kenyan who has source will listen to this. Every Kenyan who has a slight idea of this talk will have information about this. And what are the effects of it? Whatever they put on the table while discussing them in the meeting, why of these people, let's say people who are oppressed, wouldn't they think in favor of the Al-Shabaab or the certain terrorist groups? Wouldn't they? Would they then think that this is a better option? Why should I? I'm not getting paid. The country is not helping me. Medicine is expensive. Why shouldn't I join them? Listen, the only way to solve this is through force. The only way to eliminate them is through force. And we have to use superior strength to beat them. Thank you.
The proposers have been asked a very simple questions. If we choose to go about negotiating with terrorists, how do we do it? And the opposition have been asked, if we choose more violent and more aggressive means to deal with terrorists, will that not just lead to more bloodshed and compound the problem further? We'll have them respond. Third proposer, you have 3 minutes.
Simple question asked. How do we negotiate with terrorists? It's easy. Verbal communication, the use of words, clear, definite. The first speaker said that if you do negotiate with terrorists, they do keep coming back for more. But the question is, if we do not negotiate with them, they keep coming back for more also. The thing is, you say that we should not negotiate because we are protecting the lives of our citizens. That is true. But let me give you a history of what the militants or the terrorists ask for when they demand. When we keep attacking them, day in, day out, keep on attacking them, we are fighting fire with fire. The whole world will come back to ashes. That is the truth. The Al-Qaeda group, the US killed the founder, Osama bin Laden. Out of killing him, 2 groups formed, the ISIS and the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan. They fight for, because they are fighting for Osama bin Laden's death. This was brought because we did not negotiate with the Al-Qaeda. And you tell me that the government should not negotiate? Really? Makes sense. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an example of the ETA. The ETA is a terror group. It terrorized from northern Spain to southwestern France. It was formed by the youth in university and high school. Their main aim was to send a message to the government that they should change how they were directing and ruling the people in both Spain and France. In October 21st, 2011, a video was released showcasing that both parties, the ETA and the government from both Spain and France, had come to an agreement. And since 2011, there has been no terror attacks in Spain and France. This just goes to show that negotiation is the way to go. Come on. We have used military force. We have used police intelligence. None of them has worked. Let us use what God, the Creator, has given us. The use of words. Sit down. Deal with them. What do they want? Offer it to them. And the problem on terrorism is just gone. A bad history.
Alidina, you have 3 minutes to respond to the audience questions.
My name is Hassan Guyo. I'm here to answer first the question. They said, if we use violence, there'll be more bloodshed. I want to tell you this. If someone uses force against an innocent people, then returning the same favor to them is inevitable. Such is a clarity that history is in favor of. That they eliminated the Nazi Germany so that Europe could prosper. They got rid of the apartheid regime so that South Africans could live in harmony. Our forefathers fought with the colonialists so that Africa could develop freely and peacefully. Bloodshed, indeed, will increase. But let's look at the magnitude. We're sending soldiers in Somalia. 70 soldiers are killing to protect 45 million people in Kenya. If at all we won't do so, the attacks will keep coming in. Did we attack Al-Shabaab first, or did they attack us first? Who invaded Kenya first? Al-Shabaab moved in Lamu and started causing chaos. We didn't go there just because we want to kill them. Al-Shabaab was there since before, since the time of Moi was a president, but we never went to war with them. Only when they started attacking our country did we fight back. So we have to accept that peace is defended, not only propagated. And that for peace, our forefathers sacrificed their lives. Hence, we must not give in or give up, but stand up for our rights regardless of the enormity of the threat. The third speaker here said of the Tehreek-e-Taliban. I want to tell her that the statistics he gave are false. When did it begin? It did not begin after Osama bin Laden was killed. No, it didn't. Tehreek-Taliban began when the Pakistani government offered to join in the war against terror on the side of the Americans. That's when the Tehreek-Taliban started fighting the Pakistani government. And let's see that negotiating with these people, let's see how negotiating with these people is wrong. When they took over the FATA region, the federally administered tribal areas of Pakistan, and they moved down to the capital Islamabad, the Musharraf government offered to negotiate with the terrorists. An agreement was signed, but the terrorists failed to keep their word. This resulted in the war led by the Pakistani army, which finally evicted the Taliban in the FATA region. When Musharraf was asked why he negotiated in the first place, he said, I did so as to prove to you that you cannot negotiate with these people. Thank you.
We'll hear final statements now, beginning with Mama Ngina. You have a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am now talking to you as a lover of history. I believe history should change for once. Until the lion tells the tale, the hunter will always have the glory. When will our government stand and say we have defeated terrorism and we have not become terrorists by using violence? Ladies and gentlemen, This is a conversation between the government and the terrorists. It is not in any way, the citizens are not in any way included. So I appeal to you, let the government do its work on its own. Let it not put the lives of the citizens in the aim of restoring peace. That is nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, I appeal to you to allow the government to negotiate. This will give it a glory. History will be made. The government has combated terrorism, but using non-violent methods, diplomatic methods. This will be achieved if we look at it from an optimistic eye, not pessimistic eyes. Thank you.
Ali Dina, we'll hear your closing statement. You also have a minute.
Now, finally, we have to look at our history and learn from it. Ever, tit for tat has been the fairest game. This is illustrated during the Cold War. NATO, with all its firepower, did not nuke the Soviet Union. And the reverse is true. Why? Because there was a mutual assured destruction, that if you nuke my country, I will nuke your country, and we'll end, both will lose. So they did not fight. Between tit for tat, there is life. When the Soviet Union did not nuke the Americans and the Americans did not nuke the Soviet Union, the people in those two countries survived a nuclear Armageddon. They survived, and today they live as a proof that tit for tat is indeed the fairest game. Thank you.
Mama Ngina, Halima, very passionate. I think you started off the team very well. We could feel that you're very passionate about this debate. Good submissions. However, the why wasn't answered. Why are we negotiating, all right? We wanted to hear that from you as the first speaker. Stacey, confidence as well, very passionate. But how do you come to the stage and tell us, I remember, sorry, I forgot that. How do you tell us that? And yet you're the debater who's supposed to inform us. You don't want to do that on stage. Though you still appeared very confident all through, it could pass to some people, but listen, you don't want to forget anything there, all right? So that was a penalty for you. And so for Velna, good debater as well, very passionate as well. However, the question wasn't satisfactorily answered. It wasn't answered well, in other words. Why? Because, you just threw in a random answer and said by verbal communication. How do you negotiate with terrorists just by that? So it was just a throwing off. Did you say that since 2011 there has not been attacks in France? You need to research well, because that's what you said, and I think that is not right.
Hassan Goyo, you are an eclectic debater. I liked how you were debating. I liked your mastery of content. I liked the way you were responding to questions. That was very good. Swale, you did very good in rebattling the use of rhetorical questions. I mean, why should we negotiate with them? Are we going to expect, do we have any documented evidence on negotiations having gone through? The way you used your rhetorical questions was very good. Kasim Mohammed, you had a very good introduction. I could see the passion and conviction of debating in you. You're a very good debater.
To our hosts, Mama Ngina Girls High School, you were awarded 68%. Please give them a round of applause. Ali Dina Visram, the judges awarded you 70%. You are our winners for the debate.
Of course, congratulations to both teams. That was a very narrow victory margin, and a bravo and a job well done to Ali Dina Visram. Thank you to our audience here in studio and those at home for watching. Give us your feedback and be sure to keep watching. I am Mariam Bishar.
And I am Austin Nyambok. Catch you next time.
The Great Debaters Contest is powered by Blaze, by Safaricom, the Youth Network.